G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a 2-shot 50 cal machine gun with bullets exploding for area damage as a secondary legendary effect. This is a little bit of a blast from the past, and for those of you who haven't been with Fallout 76 since the very start, if you had one of these during the initial couple of months of this game, you could basically one-shot everything up to a Scorched Beast and a Scorched Beast Queen. It was extremely powerful. What would happen was, you've got the 2-shot legendary prefix, which would multiply damage by 2. Then all of your explosive bullets, which there are 2 of them, are also multiplied by 2. Then you've got the multiplicative perks along that. And back then, Demolition Expert did 100% more damage. Basically, you could get like 800 damage per shot, and then all of that damage would be transferred into the explosion as well. So you didn't have to actually hit anything to kill them. You just got to hit vaguely in their direction, and you know they'll die to a horrifically powerful explosion, even though it looks like a firecracker. But yeah, that's what it was like. Nowadays, well, not really. It's going to be slightly different. So the 2-shot is only going to be doing 25% more damage, but with explosives, it's going to be slightly better than it would be without, because the Demolition Expert, I believe, is still multiplicative for the explosions, which makes it a little bit stronger. So when you get this all perked up, it actually might be good. We'll have to be a little bit wary of the accuracy penalty, but we've got Stabilize to help us out with that. So we'll chuck on the Heavy Gunner perks. We've got Bullet Shield, so when we're holding down the trigger and shooting stuff, it will not, will take less damage. You're going to be leaving Nerd Rage out in favor of Gunsmith on this one. I've already got Stabilize on. I guess we can chuck on... Yes, I've actually had the 5 points for Demo Expert for, you know, damage purposes. And then Bloody Mess goes on. Got Action Girl and Dodgy, the standard sort of tanky power armor setup here. Tenderizers there, pretty helpful for doing 10% more multiplicative damage. And now we're doing 150. When we've got a fire rate of 91 and a magazine capacity of 250, that's, well, it's not terrible, is it? I reckon we could do some work with this. It's also got a gold paint. You probably already noticed that by now. But for those of you who want me to point out every single particular thing, like this pixel right here, it's got white on it because... Fuck it, let's just get started. Okay, so here we are outside of Facebook HQ because we've got to get our Australian news things back because Facebook banned them. Got the Marauder Raider paint on, which I think is fitting for this character because in XCOM 2, the XCOM 2 universe has a Miranda in it. Miranda Holden, as it were. And her... Wow, I just got the aiming down sights bug. Great start! Yes, her call sign is Marauder because, you know, it rhymes with Miranda and it makes sense. She's an angry power armor person and does this kind of damage. It's pretty good. You'll note that this thing spread even with Stabilize is actually quite poor, so we will have to be getting ourselves into a really close position to actually make it work. But once we do get close enough for those bullets and those explosions to hit, it's actually doing a pretty good job. And if we happen to catch more than one enemy in the explosion at once, that'll make it slightly more efficient. Those doggers won't know what hit them. Now, I did chuck on one gun army as well in the hopes of getting a little bit more staggers out of it than normal because we're hitting them 4 times every shot if we hit them with the bullets and both explosions, which I believe for automatic variants of heavy guns doing less than 200 damage here, but only just. But yes, but for automatic guns, I believe they are scaled down the effect of one gun army to like 3% because otherwise you just instantly cripple everything because a 12% on a minigun is going to, you're eventually going to roll that very quickly because you've got such a high fire rate there. So you're hitting them a little bit more than once per shot, I think is going to help that proc a lot more. I'm kind of killing them too fast to see too much of effect out of that. And I've managed to actually utilize this weapon with the sneak criticals, and therefore we get the bonus from follow through, which is good stuff. It's helpful for the damage output, isn't it? Okay, we're on the inside now. We might as well just keep this pace up because I'm liking it so far. Ended up getting back into caution. I don't know why. Probably a bug because I don't know, I've heard it say that escape artist doesn't work inside power armor. We don't flash. You don't go transparent for a second upon crouching. So yeah, I'm inclined to believe that. We'll just
blow these doggos away. You don't have to be particularly accurate with this thing, but if you do pay attention and actually hit your shots, you're going to be doing a lot more damage than just hitting them with the explosions alone, you see. We're not exactly getting pre-patch levels of time to kill, but we're going to have to be one-shotting everything to actually do that. But I do think the time to kill for a weapon like this is quite substantial. The thing is though, since we're splitting all of that damage between two projectiles, whilst it might be going super good against these guys, not exactly trash mobs, but they're kind of pushovers when it comes to the strength of my build and weapons. These guys, they're going to be pretty susceptible to it, but I don't think this thing is going to go very far versus an Earl, because, you know, all of these stupid damages is going to go off the per projectile, which is already going to be split in two, you see. And you know that they're not going to take barely any of that actual explosive damage. Is there going to be a doggo in here? Thought so. I think I've memorized the spawns a little bit better now. You'd think I'd get it by now, having done this run so many times. Unfortunate reload. Yeah, just take your time, Miranda, that's fine. Now, if this Strangleheart power arm, which I'm actually wearing, still did give you the effect of multiple stacks of it before, you know, the console players and their inferior machines started complaining about it, and those with lesser PCs. This thing would have a great synergy because you could just keep on stacking it. I suppose Thorn Armor is doing the same thing right now, but nobody uses melee, so no one's complaining about that, right? Nothing can hit as fast as an explosive beam split Gatling plasma to stack those frame rate dropping things on. Anyways, so we're done here. Barely even broke a sweat. Let's move on to the tools. I don't know what it is about this armor, but when you're holding a heavy gun like this in first person, you get right up close to some really ugly textures, and everything's on ultra. You can tell that the weapon textures are detailed and they look great. But for some reason, the premium pay to get things, like they weren't part of the Atom store. These were part of a bundle that you get with Wastelanders Deluxe Edition, and you get those textures in your face while utilizing it. So it's not very pretty, but it looks cool from a distance, right? If I play this in third person, it's kind of cool. I think it did look a lot better on the promo poster, though. I'll tell you that. Whoever did the promo poster for Wastelanders, despite the main focal point being the hideous Secret Service power armor, I do think the T51 Settler variant and the XO1 Raider variant look absolutely gorgeous. Great looking power armor. I wonder if it was the same guy who designed all three, because he totally dropped the ball on the Secret Service power armor, I'll tell you that much. So we're chopping through these ghouls with ease, like, you know, I'm about to start talking shit now because I think the weapon is speaking for itself. There's not a lot else I can talk about just the weapon's credit. You're seeing how it's going. We're kind of, you know, limited ourselves to a range where this thing is very effective, but I guess we can test what this thing can be like at range. Now, probably what we want to do to, you know, get along with that is just tap the trigger like you're playing Battlefield 3 again, and you have to wait for the spread to reset every shot. So, I mean, even when we're tapping the trigger, we still got a moderate amount of spread on this, so we'll have to see how we go. I don't think it's going to go too well at range, so we'll test that now. Here's a question for the lore nodes to answer for me. Why exactly do Raiders even have access to power armor? These chumps weren't in Appalachia, and they didn't sign up for Modus. Was it, like, were they supposed to kill, like, some Vault Dweller and then, like, pinch the power armor from them? Because here's the thing about Fallout 76 people. They don't die. They just respawn, like, 2 seconds later. Dying is a mere inconvenience, like stubbing your toe in the morning. You know, it's gonna, you know, upset you a little bit, but it's not gonna ruin your entire day, right? So one thing we can do to supplement the pathetic range of this weapon is just use it in VATS. Now, that is obviously limited by the amount of action points we got and how accurate we are in general. If you've got a perception helmet piece or the VATS boosting, what's it called? VATS matrix on your headpiece, then you'll find that you won't have too many problems with it. We're also in a rad storm, which I should probably acknowledge. They're not the most common things. I guess this blew all the way in from the glowing sea in Boston, in the Commonwealth. You know, it's possible. The winds are strong enough to carry it. I think they just put it in the game because it's cool. You don't have to think about it other than that.
So we should have the follow-through bonus on him, and he goes down in like 22, 23 bullets, which is pretty good for a 50 cal, I think, because we can get rid of those 23 bullets pretty quickly. Alright, time to mince some crabs, huh? Not super worried about the basic looking crab dudes. These kings, though, they're a little bit more problematic. So much so that I might bother just to jump up on that roof again. A very steep roof that by all means I shouldn't be able to crawl on. Or rather, I could just pepper the ground and see what kind of things we could cripple out of that. Well, that was definitely a stagger there. In a pinch, that would have saved me if I, couldn't jump like 30 feet in the air when I actually pressed the jump button, as well as having a jetpack, but whatever. Sometimes you're in a situation where you can't do that. Maybe if you're using dodgy and you keep getting punched and everything, then you'll have trouble. Anyway, they're getting stuck into these crackheads over here. We can usually finish this fight, so we'll do that. I kind of wish the power armor in this game would prioritize using the lower cores, so you could drain all of the trash out whilst using your power armor, because it makes no sense to load the near empty ones into the Gatling lasers, right? So maybe if that's like a quality of life update they could make, so we don't have to worry about carrying around several depleted cores, giving us less power to weight ratio in our inventories. I think that would be a worthy improvement. Now, getting to actually code that might be a bit of a challenge, so who knows if we'll actually ever see that. So what we'll do is we'll go for legs here, and looks like we've crippled one of the legs, and she's down on the ground. She's still gonna huck loogies at me, but she gives me the old pimp slap there, the backhand me. But that's gonna be no problem because she can't possibly spit at me now. She's basically a sitting duck, a sponge crab duck shaped sort of thing. She did deploy her babies, and these give you a lot of XP per kill, like compared to other things, like 216 XP. I think I killed a lot of them for about 260 something. I mean, that's good. I mean, if you could sit here farming her mobs all day, if she just keeps shitting them out, then you'd be level 1000 in no time. Maybe that's how that German streamer guy did it. So using that example of just how this thing went versus the Mirelurk Queen, I mean, you'll find that, sure, these trash mobs piss easy, but as soon as you get into something a little bit more on the tanky side, and let me just get this faster reload going. I'm used to having lock and load on, apologies. Anyways, get this Scorched Beast attention. Probably end up with a blight here, but what can you do? If we can get him to quickly land, that would be nice. And we've popped another one out of existence, it just popped up. They're using Institute technology. Not only can they cloak, but they can teleport without all of the giant effects of the thing. There you go. Now, did we actually end up crippling you, or was that just RNG? It was just behavioral RNG. Not keen on being pissed on here, so we'll move back a little bit. Fortunately for me, the Scorched Beast is a big enough target to go full auto even from back here and hit mostly every shot. But yes, we're going through the bullets very quickly like this. Now, I could boost the damage significantly by either having Nerd Rage active with a green reaction or just doing chems, but you need those force multipliers to get you to be able to do any damage, then you fucking build yourself one. What do I say about that? So, we've got a bunch of thirsty boys running at me with melee weapons. They'll stagger you, so they're annoying. You don't have to worry about barrel spin up with this weapon, so that's less problematic, but I'd rather not be hit whilst I'm focusing fire. You can leave the ones with the rifles alone. Those super mutants might actually do, I don't know, like a couple of damage to the Scorched Beast. The problem is now that we're going to wait for him to land, and our chances to cripple him might not be great. Although he did pick up in the air like he was going to land. We may have gotten that behavior. Acting like the Scorched Beast Queen and just kind of forgetting about me. Gonna reel in that bullet hosing a little bit. I think my spread was sending most of those bullets into the ground. Within reason, you can't really give this, a full... You can't hold the trigger down for more than 5 minutes. Obviously, 5 seconds, I think, before you need to stop firing because the spread will get a little bit too much. So it kind of falls on its face on this kind of last hurdle here. It just can't deal with all of these really strong mobs properly, although the time to kill here when they're landing is pretty good. But keep in mind, these guys have got, how much hit points? Like 3,000 or something, and the Scorched Beast Queen has in excess of 10 times that, plus 70% damage resistance, so you're not going to be getting anywhere near the amount of damage that you'd need to get a decent time to kill, at least solo. So if you are carrying one of these into Scorched Earth, you're just going to have to accept that you're going to have to get carried by people using superior weapons. But that being said, you can do pretty good on mob duty. And if you are using this against Earl, then the extra crippling is a nice tool to have, I suppose. Give this guy a little bit of a whirl with follow through. Managed to 40 bullet kill him, so you know, within reason you can do okay with it, but I don't think it's a particularly strong contender. I'd much rather have the accuracy of this weapon when it's firing a single bullet. Maybe Blade Explosive would be useful for this still. Blade Fire Rate, perhaps, if I wanted to, you know, ding people from all the way back here. That whirlybird over there. I'll hit that with more efficiency than what I just did now, but yeah, there you have it. The TSC 50 cal. Bit of a revisit, blast from the past. It's been sitting on a mule for ages now, and it's been on like full condition for however long I've put this thing away for, which it's been a while, possibly over a year at this point. If you'd like to see this weapon in your game, get your own. This I like this one. I'm getting sentimental about it just because I'm nostalgic about the good old days when this game sucked a lot less. Thank you for watching, guys.